Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the GAIA Daily for November 19th through 22nd. So, we have just had last night this very powerful lunar eclipse in Taurus, a huge shifting point for humanity. We have had these incremental, massive energetic changes, and we're all wondering, when does the other shoe drop? When do we see the manifest changes in our world, to our timelines, to our outer reality that fit the changes that have been going on within and in the invisible? That blood moon at 27 degrees Taurus speaks to a powerful message of the end of an era on planet Earth, the end of human slavery. So we're all being asked to examine where we have been complicit in slavery. The only way we got here to this point in time is because we have, on some level, given our power over to external authorities. The astrology is speaking specifically to this very powerfully, with Mars, the warrior, in Scorpio, exactly opposite of Uranus and Taurus. Now, we're going to be feeling this through the weekend. And this is Mars going into the dark, into the depths. Now, this is the last bloom, though, of Scorpio energy with as far as the sun. So the sun is moving over into the sign of Sagittarius on Sunday. And that marks a big shift energetically, where we're coming out of the darkest time and the journey of through this time of darkness of the season corresponding to the Northern Hemisphere. And then coming back into finding our inner light, coming back into our light. And a shift of energy always happens very powerfully when the sun moves over into Sagittarius. So this Mars going to the depths and seeking that truth and meaning and purpose is such a powerful message for us, humanity. We have been conditioned to separate ourselves from each other, to not care about what's happening. Well, that's going on in the world. That's their problem. I'm over here. There's nothing I can do about it. And this cannot continue as we move forward in our evolution. We cannot continue with the lies and deception and darkness being ignored and hidden. What's happened because of our world of this cognitive dissonance and this disconnection from truth and from each other and from our care and our love, the humanness, what it means to be human, this is what the control energies have sought to do, to disconnect us from this. Human beings live in purpose. Our existence, by definition, is spiritual purpose. And yet we've come so far away from that truth. Isn't this the deepest grief for you, supernova soul? That feeling of having all of this inside of you and not being able to express it and offer it to the world. So our disconnection and our denial of the dark has brought us to a place where, and you can see this as the ongoing effects of this medical tyranny and this jab and the energy. It's like all about disconnecting us from our own God-given right to exist in full expression, to connect with our creation energy. It's just is. It's not a law that's given by any organization or land even. It's our God-given right. We have a direct connection to source. And that is in that oneness experience, in that deeper and profound understanding of what it is we're doing here. But they want us disconnected. They want us without purpose. They want us just going through life in a materialistic journey of accumulating items and feeding our desires. And so this Scorpio bloom, with the sun coming to the end degrees of Scorpio for the next few days, and Mars the warrior exactly opposite Uranus in Taurus, speaking to the revolution of wealth. And we cannot move into the age of abundance and supernova souls into your abundance you have within you until we face this darkness. Now, so much of this has to do with mind control and deliberate manipulation of our psyche, our timelines, our reality. And supernova souls, you have been the most targeted in these situations. So know that the trauma response is being triggered as an opportunity to find these dynamics and get them out of our psyche for good. As long as that hidden trauma is there, it creates like a loop. And we all know this, right? How did I get back here? I thought I resolved this issue. And once again, this is exactly what's happened with our timelines. We're supposed to evolve and ascend in a natural, organic way. But the control energies that started all the way back in Atlantean time have been all about using fear and trauma energy, catastrophe, to keep us in a loop of creating the same thing over and over again. So this is where we supernova souls have to recognize this pattern in our mind and our psyche and go to the depths so that can be completely released. Because what's happened is that we've been so disconnected from our purpose. And this is your main issue and humanity's problem. They don't even realize it. For the most part, the masses are just going along, being the feeders, and at the same time being fed upon. So the darkness that's been hidden from us and the disclosures that are about to come out into the world are exactly that darkness hidden, and us ignoring it and not being able to face it has brought us to a place of disconnection in that our lives have no more meaning and purpose. But just like our God-given right to connect with Source through our immune system, that's what brings us back to purpose, is facing this depth and darkness. Now, so as these disclosures come forward, it's giving humanity an opportunity to once again care about life, to care about other people, to fight for what's right and good and true once again. So there's a powerful energy here because the next few days we've got the sun going over the end degrees of Scorpio, bringing us a bloom of that energy, and Mars the warrior going right up in the mirror reflection of the distortions of wealth. We know, supernova souls, we're coming to understand the abundance that we have. Why? Because we never gave up our connection to Source. And we have experiences, higher dimensional experiences, and experiences before we came to this evolution, already experienced light body, already gone through spiritual ascension. No one can take that from you. But that's also the reason why you've been on the front lines and you've been so beat up. And now it's time to end this cycle. So the Uranus is this wealth revolution, and we're understanding the massive wealth that we have because we have not given up our connection to Source. And we're claiming back this creation energy that is exactly the same as our life force and our immune system. No wonder health is the final battlefield. So by facing the depths of the darkness, that's what's giving supernova souls an opportunity to claim the abundant wealth of who you are as a soul. Step into it and receive. And just like the masses, the disclosure coming, the disclosure of what we're uncovering and clearing these hidden traumas of the dark programs we've been put through and the targeting, it's claiming back that wealth. And for supernova souls, that wealth is expressing your wealth within your divine purpose. And everyone around you's told you that that's a bunch of hogwash. And yet it's everything. It's everything that makes everything make sense. And when humans have an opportunity through these dark disclosures to once again fight for life, to once again care for each other, to live with purpose, Because when we hide from that darkness, we run from those intensities and those emotions and all this, we're complicit in that darkness continuing. And you get further and further away. We've all gone through this because supernova souls, you're so sensitive and you've been through so much and you've had so much attack. And we have a tendency to fortress up. And you get more disconnected though. When you get more disconnected from that deeper truth, it's more disconnected from purpose. And all you care about is living with purpose, because that's the truth of who we are as divine beings. And they've tried everything to strip you of that, and they have not succeeded. And now we get to lead the way for humanity to come back into living with purpose. Now, this is the energy of Vesta on the South Node at 1 degree Sagittarius. The South Node is past karma that's keeping us from moving forward. This is where supernova souls, we came in with such dedication and devotion and showing up and doing our work and living with that divine purpose, and then thwarted, pulled out of our timeline, killed, or harassed or exiled. And then we blamed ourselves for failing God. And we bought into that we were separate and had to prove our worth. And yet it's just our divine right by existence. We have an immune system, our life force. That is God, source, activated right inside of us. No wonder they don't want us to know that we have an immune system. The power of the body of its ability to heal itself is a miracle. And when you experience that, you can never forget it. No wonder they've attacked alternative medicine for so long. So what's happening is that on Sunday, the sun will be moving into Sagittarius and moving over the South Node and Vesta. Now, Vesta is the sacred fire within. So it's speaking to spiritual purpose. And with the South Node there in Sag, it's like, get up. It's time to claim this back. So maybe supernova souls, we claim back our vitality and our health and our wealth and our abundance by claiming back our purpose. And maybe we heal ourselves by beginning to offer. Maybe all that we feel and we're struggling with is actually how the masses, humanity, people around us feel. But they become so disconnected. See how beautiful it is that you can still feel? And yet those same trauma feelings are keeping us in that loop. So it's just a powerful alchemy with the astrology that's happening right now in breaking this mind control, breaking those trauma patterns, but we can't do it unless we're willing to face that shadow. So Mercury is exactly square to Jupiter also on Sunday, the same day that the sun passes over into Sag. And so Sunday, Monday, very powerful energies. They're huge transition because Mercury in Scorpio, in square with Jupiter in Aquarius. Jupiter wants to expand into the Aquarian Age. Jupiter's making its third and final pass through the end of Aquarius, and right near the solstice moves over into Pisces, crossing the shift of ages point. Jupiter going over that point for the third time is that entrance into the Aquarian Age. Spiritual ascension, 5D, and the second coming of Christ. It's all the same. So Mercury is our mind, and in Scorpio, it's facing the darkness, facing the programming, understanding how manipulated and targeted we've been so we can get out of that trap. As long as we ignore that, we're never going to be able to heal it. That's why the Scorpio energy is so incredibly powerful for us. And Mercury, the mind in Scorpio, facing the darkness, squaring up with Jupiter, it's saying, we can't go over this threshold with this mind control. We can't go over this threshold to the Aquarian Age carrying any of that trauma programming. Is this why we have to go down deep into the depths to address this right now? It's not pretty and it's not easy. And I know we're all feeling alone, but we are not alone. We're all going through it together. So we're definitely in that wilderness moment. and use it, because it's only a few days until we have this shift. So use this energy to set your intention to be set free from the programming and the mind control that's keeping you from that massive spiritual abundance, which is the truth of who you are. So Mercury square Jupiter, tension around, like, we can't take this with us. We got to face the dark. And the sun in the end degrees of Scorpio. Now the sun is our identity. It's like, who do you think you are? So we're getting a brand new identity, because it's moving over the South Node and Vesta, awakening that sacred fire of purpose. So this is how we lead the way. We're bringing humanity back to living with purpose and meaning, which is simply the truth that we are spiritual beings with a direct connection to source. It's time for us to start living and acting like it. And we're leading the way. So hang in there and know that we're all on this journey together. So it's interesting that Eros and Pluto have been in conjunction at 24 degrees Capricorn. And we also have Jupiter at 24 degrees Aquarius. So Jupiter in that square with Mercury interacting with Pluto at 24 degrees. They're one sign apart. It's a semi-sextile. It's about working together across the lines to come up with solutions. It's a mystical transit, this 30 degrees. It's like, we can do this. We can cross over the divide and hold hands. And so Pluto, so that means that Jupiter is also in a semi-sextile relationship to Eros, an asteroid. Now, Eros rules creation energy, also sexual energy. But the way the dark side has worked is to demonize and distort in very dark, scary ways sexual energy, except for sexual energy is just energy. And what we call free energy or Tesla technology, Tesla energy, is a feminine form of electricity that's right there in the air. We can never run out of power. But there was a reason why they pushed all that power through wires and charged us for it, to create a grid of control. That shit's all coming down. So with this Eros-Pluto conjunction and semi-sextile to Jupiter in Aquarius, it's saying that all of this is about us claiming back our creation energy, just like we talked about our life force. But this is specifically associated with sexual energy. And the sexual distortion, the very dark truths around sexual distortion and slavery, sex slavery that are coming forward, it's not pretty to look at, but we have got to face those truths so that we never, ever allow this to happen again. But they've used sexual distortion to keep us, to make us reject that energy entirely. And it's like chained to the lower chakras. But this creation energy, our ascension, our light body experience, our ability to be co-creators of this reality, all has to do with being able to use those creative forces in our higher chakras. So no wonder they've chained this energy to the materialism, to the distortion. And then it's so dark and we say, okay, I'm just going to reject that altogether. This Eros-Pluto, Pluto is the destroyer, and Capricorn, the destroying of structures that are no longer serving us, false authority structures. And so it's false authority structures that have kept our creation energy in chains. Now, when we're not aware of this creation energy in our body and available to us as our God-given right, if we're not aware of it and we're not using it for ourselves, at least it open for other forces to use it. And feeding the matrix. So if we're like, oh, we've been taught and programmed that creation energy is wrong and bad. And yet it's everything. It's the energy that creates worlds. And it's exactly connected to purpose and spiritual purpose. So we've been totally duped. But this astrology is about a brand new identity, leaving those old stories behind, getting back on our spiritual purpose, which is claiming back this creation energy and beginning to work with it. And so, because when, like I said, when we're not using it, it's open for other forces to use. And we know that the matrix doesn't have its own source of power. It's a narcissistic, psychopathic reality feeding on our energy, our tax dollars to continue to create dark programs that keep us psychically enslaved. No more. Because we talked about how the last blood moon that happened for the length of time of that eclipse was in 1440. And in 1440 was the beginning of slavery in the West. So this blood moon is about undoing human slavery. And we're talking about all of us enslaved in our minds, in our psyche. We're talking about actual slavery. We're talking about debt slavery. And we're turning the tables on this. Supernova souls, you have no idea what a crucial role you have played in this process. And when these truths come out and we have this shift, there's no way you're not going to see and understand fully the role that you've played. So don't give up. You're so powerful and you're so beautiful and there's so much wealth within you. And I'm so sorry that it has not been able to be received in this world. But you are so valuable and so needed. So let's do this. We're at the end game. The end game means all the tricks in the book. And what's happening with all the deception in the world, it's triggering their subconscious trauma from being a targeted individual and soul. And we got to be like, all right, all of that simply validates my power and I'm taking it back now. I am not scared of the dark. The warrior is taking me by the hand and together we're going to go there and we're going to rip it out by the roots so that I never loop this pattern again. And humanity, we're stepping out of that timeline prison. It's all designed. This whole dark agenda is simply about holding back our evolution, because once we go over into 5D, they can't feed us on us anymore. They can't exist in that frequency of energy. They have to leave the planet. That's why they put everything, thousands of years of agenda to make sure we never cross this threshold. But you, supernova, already have had experiences of ascension and you're on the edge, the cutting edge. No wonder. And now is the time where we're like, all right, The Matrix was a documentary. And I see I'm in a game now, but I'm paying attention. And finding that soul strength, that deep and profound trust of who you are as a soul, what you've gone through, and stepping into that armor of God, stepping into that light. And something really important right now is the power of discrimination. If there's energies around you, because the narcissist energies are running out of food source, so they're going everything to surround, those that have kept of us who have kept our direct connection. So we have to use discernment, and it's so hard because I know you've been alone for so long, and we've had to have such boundaries, protect ourselves, that we've fortressed it up into our own isolation. But on the one hand, we've got that dark feeding energy, but on the other hand, this influx of light. And that's where we want to put our attention. But I'm getting this picture of be really careful where you put your energy. The moment that conversation goes to a place or you feel an energy that's maybe feeding, right? It's becoming black and white. The beauty of these times is that it's becoming way easier to tell people's intentions right away. And when you identify that, go ahead and walk away. No tolerance, zero tolerance to that paradigm. Making room for your light worker brothers and sisters to come and find you and strengthen you and validate you simply by being around each other. I see you in me. You're showing me who I am. And I always thought there was something more, but now I know. So beautiful. And so, but we've got to clear the way of the karmic relationships This is a big energy going on right now. We cannot continue to bring souls with us that don't want to go. That's not our job right now. This is a free will universe, and everybody they have that connection to God directly, and they can find their way. But we've been going up and down the mountain trying to bring everyone with us, and it's exhausting. And now it's time for us to give ourselves full permission to establish in that light, in that frequency of truth, and that knowing of what it is we're really doing here. And we're holding the door open for them to find their way. But everyone has to find their own way. And that's what we're going through too, facing the wilderness all alone, but knowing our soul group is there to meet us just on the other side. So hang in there, supernova souls. What a powerful and profound time. And go ahead and catch the replay of the supernova or the soul group session for the lunar eclipse. Very powerful clearings there if you're feeling like you need some support. And this period of time between eclipses is very strange. Eclipses are about things hidden and revealed. So that solar eclipse in Sagittarius on the 4th is going to be a huge energy of stepping over into a new energy and a new paradigm. And so we're in this place where now eclipses are also about timeline alignment. So between eclipses can feel like we're outside of time, but maybe that's where we need to be to almost like get perspective on this loop and this trap that we've been in. And simply by being like, all right, I see I'm in a game and I want out. I'm paying attention. I'm standing in the light. I'm putting on that armor of light. I'm stepping into the fire and burning it all away. Now, this goes back to that Vesta. So Sun, South Node, Vesta conjunction, it's a brand new start in our identity, coming back to spiritual purpose. So step into that purpose. It's like, might be one little kernel of memory that's still left of your soul purpose. And it's not an exact thing we're looking for in a manifest world. It's a knowing that there's so much more inside of you, ahead of you, the truth of you. And you may have almost lost all of it, but that tiny percentage is enough to get you through. And this new identity is living with purpose. So can you do that right now instead of waiting and figuring out what it is you're supposed to be doing? Can we step into the presence of the moment and the purpose that's available in that, in just knowing that we have purpose? Because that might be the key of what it is we're doing here. This powerful message that humanity is just lost and disconnected from its reason to exist. And it's becoming, and that allows it to be a food source and like feeling like, what's the point of life? This is everything. And it's your core issue. And so that's where we turn this around, where your greatest disability and burden is actually your greatest wealth. And here we are in this amazing opportunity to lead humanity back into purpose. And you receiving and embodying the truth. It's not a specific thing, right? But just the energy of divine purpose. You know you're here for something way more, and it's happening. We're not getting out. Nothing can stop this. So be in that light of truth, even if it's just a tiny little spark that's left. Knowing that you are playing this profound role in leading humanity into a whole new paradigm, back into caring and loving and the depths of human experience. You know, 6 is a number that's been associated with evil and Satanism. And, you know, all of the numbers are God's numbers, but they were twisted and distorted, just like that sexual energy. But 6 is also the number for humanity. So they took our humanness, our care, our love, our empathy, and used that against us to turn against each other, to make sure that we never go up against the common enemy. That's what's changing right now. So you claiming your spiritual purpose as an energetic field in truth, and that kernel of light that never left you, and standing in that place, you are leading the way for humanity. You are staking claim on the abundance of who you are and preparing to receive on a level beyond what you can imagine. So stick with us, supernova souls. Let's stay together. Let's stay connected. And thank you so much for being here with me. What an honor to work with you. Amazing, beautiful, laden with spiritual gifts, profoundly amazing supernova souls. So much love to you. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.